continuing on the Techno Machine series, I opened up the DJ Megaset Pro 3 to yoink the Automaton because the version in the Techno Machine was broken. And while I had this open, I'm like, well, while I'm here, we've also got some other cool stuff that I want to use. So we've got the impacts, so the risers and the fallers. In the Techno Machine, the riser and the faller system seems a bit primitive. And then I'm like, well, hang on. I've got my deck strips. And these are super powerful and pretty much relevant to what I want to be able to do in the Techno Machine. And I am actually running 8 of these if you include the sampler channels here. So it's not going to be too much of a performance hit because I'm not going to need the sampler channels in the Techno Machine. We also have a filler section, which I might be able to borrow stuff from, and even the dummy clips area. So all in all, rather than drag stuff across into the Techno Machine and update it, I feel like I should do a offshoot or a spin-off of the DJ Megaset and import the stuff that I want from the Techno Machine, which isn't actually terribly much. The DJ Megaset is a really good template to kind of do these kind of spin-offs. So that's what I'm going to be doing today. So first things first, I'm just going to work on the Automaton because that's where I was at. So if you're not familiar with this, this allows us to have, let me just enable it, to draw all of these crazy modulation curves, and we can affect things over here. So you'll see this is all going mad based on what we drew over here. Now these are quite DJ specific, I guess. So all of these effects here are chained together in a series so that pre-mix files, whole tracks can be fed into them and be mangled up. But we don't actually want that. We want each of these 8 to correspond to the 8 different layers that we're going to be producing with our synthesizers. So I'm going to go into my Techno Machine here. It's a bit sad to see it go, but that's all good. We have an auto group. So this is where I kept the configuration of devices. And you'll notice that each device in the Automaton tracks has 8 macros, and that's what we need because you'll see the Automaton has 8 different parameters we can automate, and here would be the 8 different macros up the top here. So I'm just going to yoink those across. So this one is the gated hybrid reverb. What we want is this series of devices. Is Ableton going to be a bit slow doing this? I think it is, but that's cool. So I'm just going to drag this across. Hopefully it should just slot in okay. I'm not used to using this kind of file system to actually go into the depths of project files and grab stuff. Okay, so there it is there. So it's grabbed the devices, and you'll see we have very kick drum specific effects here. So we have, looks like a corpus, 4 parameters for a corpus, a beat repeat, and a reverb wet. Now I can delete this stuff, we don't need it. Or do I want to keep it? Because I've kind of quite carefully crafted these things here. Anyway, we'll delete them for now. I can open the DJ Megaset up later. Okay, so this is now kick. We'll call it kick auto. Okay, over here we have spectral time. I'm just going to delete that. And this one is going to be for the bass. So I think because this set is so large, it takes a while when I'm loading new things and also deleting things. It has to go through and probably update all the device IDs and that sort of shit. So I imagine based on the speed here, the majority of the video is going to be taken up doing this. But hey, that's how these videos work. So yeah, I feel like this is going to be real handy. It's loading in 2 auto filters, low pass and a high pass. So if I remember correctly, we probably had the main control here because this is the last line of defense, not defense, this is the last audio route, I think, before we actually go to the master out. So that's where I would have put my high pass and low pass filters. But the deck strips, which we're going to load in, will cover that because they have all the filters and all the EQs and all the effects chains. So let's go ahead and get this snare in here. I wonder if it's easier if I do this. So these are the actual tracks. Okay, let's see if this works. Ooh, it's not giving me the icon when I drag it. Oh yeah. Okay, this could be a lot easier. So what I'm doing now is importing all 8 of the tracks from the old Techno machine. This is probably going to take a little while. That would save me, that would just completely speed up the process and make me quite happy. Oh, and we're done. Okay, that was much easier. So I'm going to delete these tracks here. And I'll go through and just get rid of those filters that we don't need. So there's the kick, very good. So what do we have? Corpuses, yep, a beat repeat. Not bad. That might have been a little bit of a rush job. Beat repeat isn't terribly handy, but anyway. And reverb, yep, all good, okay. The bass auto we have, let me just delete these while I'm talking. Low pass filter, flanger wet, flanger time, flanger feedback. We have redux, vocoder wet. What's the vocoder got set up? Let's have a look. So that's interesting. The vocoder is set to noise mode. No other changes there. I'm not sure what I was thinking there, but we will have a play with that and see how it goes. Over on the snare, what do we have? Okay, we've got a redux, an overdrive EQ, reverb wet, reverb decay, delay wet, delay feedback, and delay time, which appears to be in milliseconds. Okay, that sounds pretty good. Over here on the hats, again we're using the corpus, which is all good. We have corpus material here, and overdrive on the hats. Interesting. Hats 2. I guess this is going to be more of a ride type thing. I am being conscious of keeping this quite open-ended, so it's can be used for other genres than techno, because ultimately I will be sharing this in a few more sessions. Once I've got this a bit more polished, I will update or upload a version for Patreon and YouTube supporters, just a little makeshift version. So we have beat repeat here, phaser, and a whole bunch of vocoder stuff for the hats too. Okay. Over on the percussion, we have low pass, high pass, a delay, and shifter. Okay, so we should update this to the latest shifter device. So this will be using the old frequency shifter here, which is not terribly ideal. Synth 1A, or Synth 1. We have low pass, flanger, beat repeat, and reverb. Yeah, I feel like we're going to update these eventually. I feel like these were me, they look like me kind of throwing stuff together just to get a result. Kind of me just picking things that I think would work rather than actually finding things that work really well. Then over on Synth 2, looks like, oh no, we have low pass, high pass, series of delay stuff. Is that identical to this one? No, it's not. So this one's more got a delay, this one's got a flanger. Okay, so now that has been brought over here. If I go over to my automaton, looks like I need to reset all of this. So I'm going to go kick auto effects. This would be the bass auto effect. This would be the snare, audio effect track. I'll need to rename all these properly as well. I should probably do that just to keep things a bit tidier. But I can do this because I think once I rename this, it will actually update these boxes for me. And we have percussion. So what I'm doing here is I'm specifying the audio effect rack on each of the channels, and then it will automatically map all of the macros for me. The other thing we need to take care of is all of the default parameters here. So these were all made for those previous effect racks, so these will all be a bit wild. Okay, I'm going to initialize this, open it up, and you can see we have all of our parameters. We have our bass. This one hasn't updated, so let's go ahead and do this. So what have we named these? bass auto effect. This needs to be snare auto effect. So the automaton sort of crawls everything and then updates all the names of stuff for me. So let me just initialize that again, and we'll clear it as well. Okay, it doesn't seem to be wanting to grab that. Maybe with a reset of the project. Anyway, it's not terribly important. So yeah, unfortunately we're not going to be able to hear much. I'll end the video there. In the next video, what I'll do is I will go through and I will replace the decks with the 8 synthesizer tracks that generate all of our stuff with all the clips, and then we should be able to get that feeding into the automaton and having a bit of a play and getting some audio.